Good morning, boys and girls. How are you today? It's Miss Forbes here on Wacky Wednesday. Can't wait to see pictures of your wacky outfits on class tag. Please have your grown-up just attach them in the comments. All you have to do is there's like a paper clip there. They select the photo, and there you are for all to see. Okay? Also remind your grown-up to check their email today. They should have a very important email from myself, Miss Laracy, and Miss Cavello, about how grading is going to work for the fourth quarter. So they want to check that out. It's in English, then underneath is Spanish, and then at the bottom I also have Vietnamese. Sorry, frog in my throat. If you haven't logged into Google Classroom, try to connect today, because by Monday when we do start our graded stuff, it's going to be posted mostly on there. You want to make sure that you're able to get on there, not going on Monday morning trying to panic, trying to get on. So try to get on there today. I know I have posted a couple little assignments for you. I believe Miss Laracy may have done something like a check-in, and Miss Cavello as well. So just so you can practice, okay? All right, no worries. I know some people are having a hard time with the what's cooking assignment. All you have to do is if you click on the rectangle and like it says what's cooking underneath the directions, it'll bring up a Google document that I've written in, and it'll say like your name, the date, what's cooking, and like I did like a couple little things there, and at the bottom I have an example there for you to follow. Okay, when you're done, you hit turn in. Okay, we're gonna get there. It's okay. All right, this is brand new to you. It's brand new to me. We're in this together. Speaking of things that are exciting, we have a new month. March is finally over. Yay! I'm so excited. It felt like the month that never ended. Today is April. April 1st. April showers bring Mayflowers. You're right, okay? So we might have a lot of rain in the spring. That is normal. That's kind of our weather pattern. And that just helps get the soil ready for flowers and trees and everything to bloom. I know that a lot of it's already blooming now because we had such a warm winter. So there's that to look forward to. April is National Poetry Month. So every day I'm going to read you a poem. They won't all be by Shel Silverstein from When the Sidewalk Ends. But this one is. It's called Oh Have You Heard? Okay. It's going to talk real quick about two things that I want you to know. You may be familiar with. A vaccination. A vaccination is when you get a shot so that you don't get sick. When you're a baby, you get shots for lots of things. Polio, measles and rubella, mumps, whooping cough, so that you don't get these diseases later in life because they can make you very, very sick. Now, they're talking a lot about making a vaccination now for COVID-19. So you may have heard that. They don't have one yet for the coronavirus, but scientists and doctors are working on developing one. And what will happen is if you get the vaccination or the vaccine, you can't get sick from that virus. Okay. One of the other things in here is actually one of the diseases that you actually get a vaccine for when you're a baby. It's called measles. Okay. Measles is, it's very, very contagious. I don't know a whole lot about it because it really hasn't been around, while I was a child. But it's one of those diseases. Okay. So, Oh Have You Heard by Shel Silverstein. Oh, have you heard it's time for vaccination? Time for the needle. I think someone put salt in your tea. They're giving us 11-month vacations, and Florida has sunk into the sea. Oh, have you heard the president has measles? The principal just burned down your school? Your hair is full of ant and purple weasels. April Fool. Yeah, I mean, it's April Fool's Day. Why not? Okay. So be looking forward to more of these. And I have another book that has some really funny ones in there too. Okay. So Wayside School gets a little stranger. Today, chapter 6 is called Pet Day. I mean, my pet's down here wandering around. I'm sure you'll hear him at some point. Oh, picture. Who do you think that is in the middle? Could you imagine if we had a pet day at Community Academy? This might be the closest we get to it. Maybe next week for theme day we'll have a pet day. If you don't have a pet, that's fine. I never had a pet growing up. My mom would have said absolutely. Always said nope. We never had pets. So we'll figure something out. I'm on it. Don't worry. Okay. All the kids in Mrs. Jules' class brought a pet to school. The room was very noisy. Dogs barked, cats meowed, a frog croaked, a pig squealed, a cow mooed, birds tweeted. Mrs. Jules held up her 2 fingers. Quiet signal. All the animals became quiet. Stephen didn't have a pet, so he brought an orange. How do you have a pet orange? He kept it in a cage on his desk so he couldn't escape. Todd brought Ralphie, his baby brother. Todd? Asked Mrs. Jules. Todd barked. You can't have a pet human, said Mrs. Jules. He doesn't bite, Todd assured her. Joy told Todd to sit and be quiet. Mrs. Jules got a piece of paper, a large piece of poster board from the supply closet. Let's make a chart, she said. Across the top of the chart, she wrote, name of kid, kind of pet, name of pet. She started with Dee Dee. She wrote Dee Dee under name of kid. And you have a dog, she said. Cat, said Dee Dee. Cat, asked Mrs. Jules. Dee Dee nodded as she petted her dog. Mrs. Jules moved on to Ron. Ron, I see you have a cat. There's my pet. Dog, said Ron as he stroked the cat on his lap. Mrs. Jules shrugged. Okay, she said. He's my dog, said DJ. Ron has your dog? Asked Mrs. Jules. Ron has a cat, said DJ. That's what I thought, said Mrs. Jules. But what's a dog? Said Jenny. Mrs. Jules covered her ears and shook her head. Let's start all over again. Mrs. Jules got a new piece of poster board from the supply closet. Mac, what's your dog's name? What's my dog's name? Said Jenny. I'm not talking to you, Jenny. I'm talking to Mac. He can't talk, said Mac. Who can't talk? Asked Mrs. Jules. Mac, said Mac. Billy barked at Mac. Mac barked at Billy. Todd barked at both of them. Joy made Todd lay down by her feet. Mrs. Jules moved on. What's your pet, Myron? She asked. Your pet's a turtle, said Sherry. What? Asked Mrs. Jules. What is Jenny's pet? Said Sherry. Jenny's pet is a dog, said Mrs. Jules. What's his name, Jenny? Jenny nodded. Her dog sat up straight and tall and seemed to smile at Mrs. Jules. He's handsome, said Mrs. Jules. My mouse is handsome, said Benjamin. Benjamin had a little white mouse in a cage on his desk. Yeah, never. If you like mice, said Dana, making a face. Mrs. Jules likes mice, said Mrs. Calvin. She eats them. Gross, said Dana. He won't come when you call him, said Kathy. He doesn't know his name yet. Billy meowed. Will Mrs. Jules eat yogurt? Asked John. No way, said Calvin. I will too, said Mrs. Jules. I like yogurt. I like strawberry best. Mauricia beamed. Mrs. Jules likes strawberry best, she said. She bragged. You shouldn't pick favorites, complained Dana. Do you like crackers, Mrs. Jules? Asked Rondi. Don't worry, said Calvin. Mrs. Jules won't eat crackers. How do you know what I'll eat, Calvin? Asked Mrs. Jules, a little annoyed. I like eating crackers with cheese on top. Oh, gross, said Myron. He won't come when you call him, said Kathy again. Mac, keep Mac away from my socks, shouted Allison. Wait, said Jason. Now you've got socks and I've got it's confusing. Wait, said Jason. Now you've got my socks and I've got your socks. I can tell the difference between my socks and your socks, Jason, said Allison. Mrs. Jules covered her ears and shook her head. She moved on. What's your pet, Damien? She asked. I already told you he was a turtle, said Sherry. I wasn't talking to you, Sherry, said Mrs. Jules. I was talking to Damien. Your nose a ferret, said Damien. My nose a ferret, said Mrs. Jules. My nose a hamster, said Joe. Billy bleated. Mrs. Jules licked her leg. Hey, Paul, said Leslie. I like your pigtails. Thanks, said Paul. May I touch your pajamas? Go ahead, said Bebe, who was already petting Leslie's pajamas. She won't scratch you. This is crazy, shouted Terrence. He's cute, said Dina. So, at the end, we have this. So let's go through it. Name of kid. Dee Dee has a pet dog named Cat. Ron has a pet cat named Dog. DJ has a pet dog named Okay. Jenny has a dog named What? Mac has a dog named Mac. Joy has a dog named Todd. Oh, so Todd laid by her feet, yeah. Sherry has a turtle named Your Pet. Benjamin has a mouse named Handsome. Calvin has a cat named Mrs. Jules. That's how you know what Mrs. Jules will like to eat. Kathy has a skunk named Gross. John has a frog named Yogurt. Maurice has a cat named Strawberry. Rondi has a bird named Crackers. Myron has a chipmunk named Cheese. Allison has a cat named Socks. Jason has a cat named Socks. Damien has a ferret named Yorno. Joe has a hamster named Mino. Paul has a pig named Tails. I like your pigtails. Ha ha ha. Leslie has a cat named Pajamas. Terrence has a dog named Crazy. Also, when he was shouting, "This is crazy." There you go. Eric Fry has a kid, a goat. A baby goat is called a kit, named Billy. Eric Bacon has a dog named Billy. Eric Ovens has a cat named Billy. Dana has a dog named Pugsy. Oh, we met Pugsy. BB has a bird named Picasso. Picasso is a famous artist. Miss Crep, I talk about him one day with you. Todd has a kid, a human, named Ralphie, his little brother. And Steven has an orange named Fido. What a mess. Okay. All right, darling dears. I will be back on later. We'll look at our caterpillars and some of our seeds in the water, seeing how they are germinating. Okay, and yeah. Happy Wacky Wednesday. Bye.